Hello. Hello. There's one. Maybe one more.
We're all watching the video and it's lagging.
Where's our special guest? There he is. Hey! I knew he wouldn't disappoint. All right, well, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to our Sunday night offering of Astronomy Edutainment, the Sunday Night Astronomy Show. Hey, episode 271. Wow. First of all, I'd like to welcome back our two regular co-hosts, Mr. Paul Owen from the Moonshot Observatory in Hampton. Hey, Paul.
Hello.
And from the PFO Observatory here in St. John, Mr. Mike Powell. Mike. Evening. Hey. Okay, well, on tonight's episode of the Sunday Night Astronomy Show, if you are a night sky observer, you should consider capturing your observations with an astronomical logbook. Logbooks provide a permanent record of your observations, allowing you to relive the excitement of first sightings and track your progress over time. They become a treasured memoir of your astronomical adventures, and they also force you to look closer at objects and compare past and present views to see little subtle changes. Well, tonight on the show, we'll be joined by local astronomer Kurt Nason. Kurt has kept meticulous logs of his observations for many years, and tonight we'll see the advantage of committing yourself to this procedure, and we'll have the opportunity, hopefully, to review a little bit of his logs. Welcome back to the show, Kurt.
Well, thank you for inviting me again.
Nice to have you on.
I'm a regular guest.
You're irregular, yeah, okay.
What?
We'll leave it there. Also tonight, Vinyl Bud will return with another fine binocular target of the week. Paul will deliver another Rosanna's Fun Fact episode. I'll have a few offer a view of what's up this week. Just a couple of things to talk about this week, but more about in a couple of weeks' time what's going to be happening. And I'll have your wonderful photo submissions to share as well. So sit back, everybody, enjoy. Remember, this is a family-friendly live broadcast, and so let's get started with a look at observing logs and why they're important part of your viewing habits. Sure.
All right. Well, thank you. And I started a logbook about 25 years ago. Maybe because I was going to start doing officially going through a Messier list, so I figured I'll have to write that stuff down. So that's probably what got me started at it, and it became an addiction, I guess. So we'll see if this comes up, and sure, there we go. Get out of there.
Once Kurt shares, I'm going to try something here in Google Meets to see if I get the sidebar for prompting here. Hey, Kim's checking in from Toronto Airport. Hey, Kim. Don't miss your flight for us. Hope you get Wi-Fi.
Alright. Trying to get that. Here it is. Here.
Okay.
Oh man. Seeing anything?
Yeah, I am, and I'm going to try to change our view to sidebar so you can get more view on there. So we'll adjust you to sidebar maybe this way.
I'll put that up.
That's better.
Okay. Observing logbook. And David Levy has been doing a logbook ever since the early 60s. He's got a lot of paper involved there. So this out of one of his books, actually two of his books, because it's the very same book, two different titles, close titles, and by different publishers. And by mistake, I have both of them. So observing has two parts, observing and recording. You cannot do one without the other. For observations locked away only in your mind are not observations. And data do not really exist unless they are recorded somewhere. All right, so going to do one. What's your purpose going to be? Well, I want it just for myself, more or less, or maybe the family, and to remember what I've observed and how I observed it. A lot of people do it that way, and you can be, if you're going to do it just for yourself, then you're maybe free to do whatever way you want. Other people maybe want it for others, and maybe particularly for sharing with friends. And maybe a lot of people put them up on, say, on the internet, and friends can look at it that way. But there are also those who report sightings to society, such as if you're doing variable star observing, you have the American Association of Variable Star Observers. You might want to send your reports in that and have them all logged there in your logbook. The Association of Lunar and Planetary Observers. Different sections there for lunar, but they have solar, different ones for each of the individual planets. So you can maybe be putting in, adding to their database. I know Kim Hay and Kevin are usually tuning in here to the show. Kim does solar observing frequently, and she scans hers and sends those into Elvo as part of the solar part of it. Also, it's not about cheap. That's the British Astronomical Association. A lot of stuff there. If you're doing, say, occultation timings, the International Occultation Timing Association. You send your data in for that one. And so that is being maybe a citizen scientist. You can do that and send things in like that. So you want to have very meticulous reports, and they probably will set criteria for what to report in there. And for posterity, whoever's got future generations looking for transient data. And so you're recording things, you never know what's going to be coming out down the road. Maybe you saw a fireball, like that, and you put that in there, and maybe 30 or 40 years down the line, somebody found maybe some meteorites in that area, and wondered if anybody had seen a fireball. So they can record back in your lesson there, or your logbook. I read recently somebody was doing, doing sunspots, checking sunspots, maybe making sketches like that, back in maybe the 30s and 40s. And those data became very useful for somebody several decades later that was trying to make a complete record of that sort of thing. So you never know when this might come in handy. All right, your format, how do you want to do it? Right, one of our members, David McCashin, Chris may be trying to get him on sometime. He does an online one. And people around the world tune in to read his observing reports. And if you get it online, you probably have it in some sort of searchable file, which would be very, very handy down the road. Maybe you saw maybe M17 and you wonder when the last time you saw that was. You have to go in your file there, you can bring that up fairly quickly. So electronic is one method of doing it. Now, you're not going to be doing that probably out in the field. Maybe you want to have something there to make some notes and then update it later, which means you probably want some sort of a book or paper thing like that to make your notes in. A lot of people use a binder, right? So it's you maybe have a single sheet, maybe with some things written on it, pre-made. You made your own form for it, and take that out and maybe check off these things while you're out observing, or if you make some notes, go back in and fill it in when you get back from your observing outing like that. Some people maybe don't want the forms, they just want to write down what they're doing, so they'll be writing on that paper, and when the paper's full, put it back in the binder. Right? They might want to take the binder with them, it's hard to say. Everybody's throwing ideas for how to do these things. You can also get a book, and or the stores you can get a book like that. either whatever you want. You can have them a blank page. What's more frequently out there is a line page. And in some cases, you might find the pages with all the little squares on it, like a graph paper. And that does come in handy for some things. Particularly maybe with sketching sunspots. You get those blanks there to give you a better idea of the background for the sun. So I can see in this sort of part of the sun, it might be in this particular square here. So it gives you a better way of getting exactly maybe on the sun where the sunspots are. Some people use a tape recorder at the eyepiece and talking to that of what they're seeing. And then later, when they get home, replay that and start making notes there in the logbook for that. I'm not sure how often this happens now, but one thing was mentioned, and this might have been out of David Leahy's book, index cards. They probably need maybe one card for each outing, or maybe a card for Jupiter, and update that and use a lot of cards for Jupiter. Or we can maybe have little tabs in there for filing on them. Okay. Okay, what is available out there? There are ready-made books, and we're often inadequate. Now, the last couple of days I got looking on the internet to see what other people were doing. And actually, first of all, to see what books are available out there on Amazon and other places. And there are a few there. Probably not something that somebody's going to be using. If you're a frequent observer, these probably aren't adequate for you.
Kurt,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to bother you. We're still looking at just your first slide.
Oh, really?
Okay. You might have to scooch down for your, I think you're on the third one now. If you go up to hit the slideshow in the very top.
Yeah, I'm on slideshow.
Okay, it's not sliding.
Okay.
So if you grab that down arrow on the side, the sidebar.
Right now I'll have to get into this.
Okay. What if you just click on your thumbnail?
Okay.
There you go. What purpose?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I can do it this way. Or I wonder. I ran into this problem before.
Their slideshow from beginning, that one there. Yeah.
No, I was in the beginning, but there might be.
From current slide, the second one, Kurt. Yeah, click on that.
All right, and did it change?
No.
No, it still says what purpose. Okay.
Okay.
And I think if you scroll down, though, did you scroll down with your mouse? Because you get to the second.
Yeah, I could do that, and then go back in the full screen, or just look at the smaller screen here. But there was another thing that I've run into before.
Yeah.
It's in presentation mode. I'm not seeing that. There are 2 or 3 different types of broadcasting.
Okay.
And
Use presenter view.
yeah, where are you seeing that?
On the far right, bottom far right, under resolution.
Okay,
That one there.
let's try that one.
Didn't change anything.
That's for more than one monitor, so that's,
Okay. Right.
I think that'll do it, but let's try it. There's a section there. Okay, any change there?
No, still same.
Nope. Okay.
Can you double click on your thumbnail, like the page number?
Well, you see, I don't see the.
Oh, you don't see it. Yeah, we see your thumbnails and your
Yeah.
screen that you're on.
Yeah. So let's see. Here we go. Try this one. Let's browse down an individual. I'll try that one. And give it a.
There you go. Format, it says now.
Okay, but I'm not in. Anything at the bottom bar there. It is hiding things for me.
You scroll with your mouse, maybe.
All right, now let's see. Go back to. full screen, so
There we
that's
go.
showing
There you
format
go.
now, right?
You got it there.
Okay, that's, see if it changes now.
Okay, good.
Yep, it is.
Did it change?
Yes, sir.
Yep, it did.
Okay. All right, we're back to it.
Perfect.
That's the problem. I had to go to this one. I've seen that with talking to schools before too.
All right.
All right, so read-made books, blah blah blah, in there. Often inadequate, and anybody that's doing a lot of observing probably want to do make up their own things. And what I'd seen there, maybe went on cloudy nights and looked at what a couple other people were doing, and they were all just making up either their own forms. Or just having your own. A lot of them were were using binders. So the books you can pick up like Staples, places like that. The coiled or hardcover, soft cover. A lot of people like the coiled. You should take them out and flip them over. It's a lot easier. If you want sheets, say if you're doing the Messier objects, things like that, the RASC site has for all of their observing projects, they have separate sheets for those. So if you were doing Messiers, you can go down and download all of the sheets for that. So there'd be 3 or 4 pages with what to observe and how to do it, and then an individual one for each of the Messier objects. You can put those in a binder. And other societies like the Astronomical League in the States, they will have their own observing programs with sheets you can pick up from there. Or if you know what you want to put on in your logs for every night, you can make up your own form and save that and print it off anytime you want to go out and do observing. You have checkoff marks and things like that for what you want to look for. Right, and here's one for astrophotographers. Well, when you're out doing things, you make notes and stuff like that.
That looks interesting.
Yeah. So this one, actually, this is the book. That's just an inside I put in there. But for astrophotographers, you really do want to get notes in there, what you're using for lenses and any filters you're using, things like that, and times for your shots. So this might be useful for that.
It'd be really nice to have something like that when you want to go back and
Yeah.
reach the target again.
So you can start your own photographer's logbook, Paul.
There you go.
Start tomorrow. Right. So what you might want to include in there. So an observation number. You know, David Levy uses sequential numbers, so he's up in the several thousands now. You want to put on the date and time, definitely. So you might want to have the day of the week, the month, and the date, all of that, plus the times, maybe your start and stop time, or any times that something spectacular happens. Maybe you see a fireball. You can record that in there because it could be useful information. Right, locations. So wherever it is you're doing your observing. And you might have 2 or 3 different places that you go to in a day, depending how often you're out observing. So put those in there. The equipment. So what telescope you have using, what binoculars, any filters you use, your eyepieces. Have all of that in there. That's something you might want to come back and check out later on. Maybe you're going to observe something you haven't seen in 2 or 3 years. You want to know how successful you were before. Right now, do a lot of this stuff. Knowing, well, myself and these 3 guys, we have more than 1 or 2 telescopes. Mike could spend half an hour giving you a tour of what's there behind it. Right, I've got Paul's got probably a dozen more telescopes. I've got about that many. Chris probably catching up on that too. Right, so you might want to have a particular name for each telescope or a code or something like that to make it a little easier rather than writing things out. Right, and have your own codes there for maybe eyepieces and the filters. It makes it a little bit easier if you're shortening things up. Right, sky conditions, either general, really a little bit cloudy tonight, but you can see through, you can see the moon through clouds. You want to go off your limiting visual magnitude. Right, if you get used to that. And RASC Observer's Handbook, there's a star map around Polaris. And there are several stars around there with LDMs. So you can maybe use that to go out and watch in the sky and tell you what the LDM is at the time. Or if you want to use the Bortle scale, but that's going to change, with weather. Maybe perfect weather, you get that Bortle number. But the weather's got to make a difference with that as well. So you might want to say border foresight and cloudy or something like that. Whatever you want to put in there. Anybody you're observing with helps to maybe get those people down there. Like when we do our things at Nature Park or other public observing of 7 or 8 people or 15, try to remember everybody that was there and put them in. Right, your targets and descriptions. And there's a lot of specific data you can put in there, depending on how much you want. Each of the things you've seen and maybe a little bit about them, you can put those in. Sketches. These help a lot. You know, a picture worth 1,000 words. Most people, when you see nice sketches like that, they're usually done at the IP. So we'll do a rough sketch of what they see, maybe make some notes beside it, and then when you get home, you fill it, or maybe you start a new one based on your memory and your notes and what you sketched there at first. Any unusual sightings. It doesn't have to be something in the sky. Maybe you get chased by a bear, or there was a bunch of deer walk by the roads out there. Just a couple on a car over, 20 feet over the side to steam out the windshield. Things like that. Really personal notes, what you were feeling when you were seeing things up there. It's all about you want in it. It's your logbook. The details. So that depends on the purpose of the logbook. Of course, if you're going to be doing citizen science, you're going to have some particular details there. Right? So some people use abbreviations for things, as I said, for the equipment, for targets. Rather than write open cluster or planetary nebulae, you might want to use OC and PM. Maybe some shorthand stuff for your sky conditions. Right? Shorthand is good for personal use because you know what it is. But if it's something that other people are going to be looking at, if you're going to use them, you should at least define what they are somewhere in your logbook. Some people, maybe a lot of people, prefer written descriptions. That's what I do. So write out in maybe some detail. I don't do that at the eyepiece. I just sort of remember what I was looking at, and then when I get a chance later on, I'll go back and write it all out. All right, there are observing forms you can get on the internet. I mentioned some of them before. And when you're doing sketches, annotate them, put little notes in there. So there's some things you can pick up. Now, on cloudy nights, there's one of the guys named Stargazer, and he had a form, so I couldn't get the whole form in there, so I scanned different parts of it. So for opening globular clusters, all these things, to remind himself what to look for in it. Richness, a lot of stars, moderate number of stars, very few stars in a cluster, range of magnitudes in the cluster, maybe the overall brightness of it. Okay, when we're looking at the core, particularly maybe in a globular cluster, does it have a bright core, maybe fading off toward the edges, things like that. So how much of the core, what percentage of the whole cluster is the core? These are different things you can put in there. Galaxies, nature and shape of the core nucleus. Edge definition, does it have a sharp edge to it? That's one way some people maybe see something, is that a galaxy or is that a comet? And if you're looking at really faint things, it might be hard to tell. But overall, galaxies are going to have a sharp edge to it, whereas comets would just fade away. As you get off the edge of it, just gradual. And nebulae, and planetary nebulae. So any color to it. You have planetary nebulae that will have some green or blue tinge to it. Use the filter. Which one did you use? Take that off. Central star visible? Well, some of them are visible. Like if you look at the Ring Nebula, only Tim Dusek can see that one in there with the backyard telescope. Everybody else can, unless you're using a much larger scope. So you can have things like that on your form to remind you of what to look for. So, what do I do? All right, I've got a hardcover book. There's 192 pages in it, and I get blank paper on it. So if I'm going to sketch something, I don't want the lines there. For a date, I use the year, month, day, and so I'll put that in to say, not numerically, I'll have, say, 2005, September 23rd, or September 23 on there. locations. Most of my observing is in my yard. Sometimes I'll go away, not too far away for a little bit darker sky, maybe to see a comet, or maybe picking Mercury coming up or going down. Right. Now, numbering these, I number mine sequentially by year. So I get 2025, observing, observing on maybe 202. I think that's about where I am right now. So I'm doing, observed maybe 202 days this year. So I have 2025-202. That doesn't mean that's the only observing I've done for that day. I might do something, or doing solar observing, might do something in the morning, might do something in the evening. Put it all into that one particular day. All right, equipment. I want to know how often I've used my equipment each year. All right, so I spend some money on something. I want to get my money's worth out of it, maybe. So I want to know how many times I've used this particular equipment. And so I'll have, say, if I'm using my Dobsonian, I call it a Dob, and might be the 14th time this year or the 20th time this year. Any special sightings, any eclipse or aurora, right at the top of that day, I'll put a little block in there and write in that maybe it's seeing Mercury for the first time in that apparition, or if I've added a new comet like I did last week. I put that in there, the comet's name and the total number of comets I've seen so far in my lifetime, or maybe an alternate day or night, which I try to do once a year. Okay, the body part, have the start and end times in there. A written description, not particularly detailed, of what I observed. Maybe a special star hopping path to a comet I might put in there. Any added attractions, maybe I saw a deer, a couple of bright meteors. Maybe, maybe I saw a satellite. If I was going to put those in there, it'd probably be 3 or 4 every minute. No time to observe. And yes, doing solar observing the driveway. Quite often, a lot of mail carriers have stopped to have a look, or people delivering parcels, or just the neighborhood people stop by and have a look. So I put that in there. Solar observing, I do a general sketch, and I make a little circle from a canister of turtle food. It's maybe a 5.5 centimeter circle on there. Not big enough for any great detail, but enough for the solar observing. I just want to get an overall view of what's there for sunspots. So I'll put in what I can. Sometimes during solar maximum, it's just not big enough to get everything in. I might make a bigger circle if I'm ambitious, but usually I'm not. So I'll put in the number of sunspots, prominences, and filters, or any outstanding features, like you had a really big filament, or maybe a hedgerow prominence that's taking up a lot of space. All right, so here's the heading with a solar sketch from September 24th. All right, so there's my date. There's the time I started, 1325. I was in the driveway, observing number 2025-204. And here's new scan 25-188. So that's my Astroscan that I'm using for white light observing with the water filter, and my CPST. So it's Kurt's personal telescope. Before I bought that from Peter, I using the club one. I just call it the PST. So distinguish, this is the CPST. This is 186th time for that one this year. And since I'm doing this most every day that I can, didn't observe the day before, so I put in some weather report there. Cloudy with some rain yesterday, so I know that's why I didn't observe. Clearing this morning, and it did solar at 1315. So 28 sunspots, 4 tiny prominences, and 4 filaments. So I put everything from the PST and white light on the same scope. So I do the sunspots first, give me an outline of the where things are, and then when I go to the PST, I can usually see some of the bigger sunspots there, and I can orient things accordingly, try to get as close as I can. All right, highlights noted. So here's one from a week ago yesterday. I was at about 3:30 in the morning on the deck, and I saw a Titan shadow for the second time this summer. And I went down off the deck, down to the side of the house where I could get out of street lights and get a view of where the comet Lemon was. and I picked that up for the first time. So I added that to here's comment number 104 lifetime. Right. And a few other things in there. And at the end there, I mentioned about having a look at Jupiter. Then I got a few add-ons here. So at the end of the year, I do a summary of the number of days, the number of separate observing events, and the number of days that each equipment was used, as you've seen here in the previous slide. And so I add those up for the year. So I have to go back through the logbook to get some of those. Right, when I finish a logbook, I reserve 3 pages at the end for an index. That way I can, takes a little bit of time to fill that out, but I have to go through the whole book, which is fun doing anyway, because you see what you've done for the last, say, year and a half. And I'll list each page that I've done, say, solar observing on it, and maybe some of them have 3 or 4. So I'll list that page 3 or 4 times. So if I go back to that book, I know how many times I've observed the sun for that in that particular range of the book. Right, when I'm done, I'll label the book with the dates on it and the number, and on the dates and for the new one coming up, maybe the inside comer, I'll start with where my equipment number are for that particular year, so I don't have to keep referring to the previous one. So here's last year's recap. So I had 294 observing days. Not all of them were perfect days. So I'll look at the sun through hazy clouds there if I can see anything. So I had, with the white light, I had 258 days. Some of those days I couldn't use the PST because of the clouds. I had about 38 days for my dog. Field Quest are 16 days. This is my Orion 80 millimeter triplet, and I didn't use it last year, but no, Paul, I'm not selling it back to you. I got it as a retirement present. A couple years later, sold it to Paul. Then a couple years ago, I bought it back from Paul. And if we keep doing that, eventually we'll be selling it back and forth like 3 or 4 cents. So I'm going to keep it as a retirement present. All right, and these are my binoculars. I've got Orion Mini Giants, which I call Oh My God or OMGs, 15 by 63. It's my Mercury and Comet Hunter. So I use that 95 times. The others, I got Canon IS and Widefield Pentax and a few other ones in there. And here's part of my index for the ones from August 22 to April 23. All right, so this is the deep sky section. That's the second page. So M2, I saw that twice in the year on page 136, 147. M34, maybe it doesn't hit 10 times or so. So these are the pages that I recorded on that. So if I want to find something about it, I can see here very quickly where they are. And something is notable about it, say there's maybe an occultation of Jupiter or something like that on the solar system page. You might underline that one so I know, oh, there's something special on that page. All right, so after the last one here, so after 25 years of logging and actually 55 years of logger, book number 1, I started that June 5th, 2000. And here's my first one on it. I guess it was at the side of the house, and the sky was clear from 2145 to 2300. I looked at the 3-day moon on it using something I saw that I wanted to identify. I looked up the Hamlin Atlas there. Mercury, and looked at that over the neighbor's house. A couple other things on there. All right, so I'm now on book number 14, and that's 2,613 pages of stuff I get on there. All right, so I'll come out of here.
Wow.
That's a lot of logging.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's nice to see the workflow of the logs because but having seen that and the way that you've done it, it would make it easy now to set one up.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So you say Dave's got
David
logs.
Cashin has his online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, citizen scientists, they look it up, and his are amazing. Like you close you can't read it, but you read, close your eyes and remember what it said, and you literally picture everything.
Yeah.
You know, talks about the dew on the grass was,
Yeah.
slightly touching his sneaker, and it's,
Yeah.
it's incredible. It's
Here's my books.
Wow.
wow.
So does each one represent a year, or is there a couple of years in each one?
No, I just do it all spelled now. The first few of them are maybe 3 years worth.
Oh, okay.
Right? And then I got do more and more, and I retired. And any day I can, I'll get out and do it. Now these are hardcover books here, and they're blank pages on them. Now, I first started getting them at Staples, and they were only about $10 or something like that. And then eventually, I went there one day to get some, and I saw maybe 3 or 4 on sale. And this sounds all mess, so I bought them all. And they never carried them in the store anymore, so I bought them some maybe 5 at a time online. Now, that one stopped being carried. And so I had to look around to find another one, and this one is called Moleskin. Marked on there somewhere, yeah, Moleskin. And the paper's not quite as good as the other one. So one thing, if you're doing sketching, things like that, and you have 2-sided pages, if you're really serious about sketching, you do it on one side of the page, you only have a thicker type of paper, so it's not bleeding through to the other side. Sometimes I'll start doing a set spot, and I see a little spot there already from something bleeding through from before. So maybe put a little extra that one.
Do you have trouble with moisture if you're doing sketching?
I don't sketch. I don't observe in the rain.
Well, but if it's if it's this cloudy day and it's a moist day.
I haven't had that problem. Only if I got the logbook maybe out and it's dew starting to happen.
Right.
But usually when I'm out for something like that, I just remember what I was doing and then write it up when I go home. If there's something I want to, sometimes I'll take it out if I'm doing. Had it one time when I was out for the eclipse, the lunar eclipse last fall.
Yeah.
I think I had to walk out with me there, and it wasn't too wet or damp like that. So I'd be marking down something about each time, how far it's progressing or so. Maybe you're doing for a meteor shower or something like that, and you'd be counting how many you see in 15 minutes, and you have it out like that. Or you just take a little scrap piece of paper and transcribe it.
So there's not a specific thing you buy for that. You just are conscious of it.
Yeah, so I'm always going to try to get the same type of book.
Yeah. I think Neil mentioned something about that when he did the talk on sketching, about the paper that he would use, because he would spend a lot of time. He spends a lot of time, like from midnight on. So you do run into dew. He's controlling the dew, but he's still able to see. But I think he mentioned something about, I don't know if it was the pencil or the paper or a combination, but there are some things.
Yeah, typically I have 2 or 3 different types of pencils and sketches to use. I've got a bunch of them, but I just use any old nub there pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm not fussy about that. So, and you have your blending stuff and everything.
Awesome, Kurt. Wow, that's quite a commitment. Big commitment. Yeah. So.
Well, come over and read them all sometime.
Yeah. Look at that. Yeah. So when I retire. Oh wait, no, I am retired. Oh, whenever.
Can we wait for the DVD?
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be scanning these, but the older ones I don't have as much detail. I might not have the stuff at the end of it, so I might go back and do them and update them, and I can tell you how many times I've seen M31 or something.
Awesome. Thanks, Kurt.
So apparently,
Information.
it sound like Borg. Are we still sounding like Borg?
I'm not sure. I'm going to find out if you are or not. I switched a couple of things here tonight, but
No.
anyway, I did. I think we made it sound a little better during Kurt's talk. So okay, let's go ahead and Mike with the Vinyl Bud. And thank you, Kurt.
You're welcome. I'll put that in my logbook.
Yes, sir.
The right screen here. Alrighty, I should be up. And maybe it's the Borg Bino Bud target of the week. It is what it is. Kimball's Cascade. We've all heard of that. Nice, easy object. Kimball's
Look at that
Cascade.
this morning.
What's that? Yeah.
I saw it this morning, yeah.
Kimball's Cascade is an asterism located in the constellation. Here we go. Camelot Pardalia. Camelopardot. Go ahead, Kurt.
Camel leopard.
That sounds good. Anyway, it's an apparent straight line of more than 20 colorful 5th to 10th magnitude stars over a distance of approximately 3 degrees or 5 moon diameters, which we'll show you halfway down through the presentation what that means. It appears to flow into a compact open cluster, NGC 1502, which can be found at one end. Now, right around now, how would I find it in the sky if you went out tonight at 10 o'clock, oriented yourself to 35 degrees northeast and looked up? You'll see a Cassiopeia coming down the double cluster, and you'll see Perseus just off to the right-hand side. Just scroll to the right or left-hand side, sorry, with your binoculars from the double cluster, and you'll find Camelopardot. You'll find the triangle. And right near the tip of the triangle, you'll find Kimball's Cascade. How's that? A little closer look. There's that triangle. You come down just off the peak, and look, there's that straight line of stars that jumps right out at you. You can't miss it. Everybody's seen it. What does it look like? Beautiful. Just the stars in that are amazing, and just a straight line all the way down, almost a straight line, but it stands right out. It's incredible. 10 by 50 binoculars. I mean, it's a large target. Comes all the way down, and at the very tip is that little star cluster. I think there was a name for it. I can't remember now. Anyway, compared to the full moon, she's 5 full moons, just like it said earlier. So it's a big target, easy to see in a pair of binoculars. We've all been there, all seen it. And why was Kimball's Cascade so humble? It knew it was just an optical illusion and not a real cluster.
Oh, good golly.
And that's Bino Borg Bud's binocular target of the week.
Final board bug.
Yeah. There's another good way to find that, Mike. You go from Algol to Alpha Persei and Murphat and extend that line about that same distance, it puts you there.
Yeah. Star hopping is a wonderful thing.
Thanks, Mike. I think.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that's a great target. Okay, hang on a second, folks.
That's a great
I
target.
gotta do something here, so I'm just gonna put this on a transition screen for a second, because I need to try something here. Okay, I tried turning my volume down on my.
Yeah, I think I know what's going on, Chris. We'll talk about it after the show.
Okay. All right, we'll try that a little better, maybe. We'll see. Okay. I'm gonna go back. Full view again, and we can take our audience back. Here we go. Okay, I guess it's time for Rosanna's fun fact next.
All right. Oh, put a smiley face on. Wrong button. Right church, wrong pew. And
Let's go this again.
well, welcome back, Rosanna, for another wonderful week of a wonderful fun fact. And this one is actually, well, they are all really interesting, but this one's going to be a lot of fun. So let's get right into it. So Rosanna writes, "Hi, Paul. Even though the season of bugs that bite is nearly over, I got bitten by the astrophotography bug on the weekend while reading through my space headlines for this fun fact. You probably already followed all of this, but for me, and perhaps some of our other viewers out there, it might be news. It hadn't made it to my inbox until Friday. There is an Australian International Astrophotography Contest that takes place in August, with the past August being only its 3rd year in creation." Excuse me a second, I'm drying up here. I gotta sip something. There. Oh, that should help. So yeah, so it's 3rd year in creation. So this year there were 545 entries from 155 photographers from 35 countries on 6 continents. So that's pretty global. The judging was live streamed on YouTube, and I watched some of them, including the final video where the winners and their works were announced. I could feel the excitement even though the contest closed August 31st and the video was released 12 days ago. All right, let me get the pictures up here. And it should be this one. There we go. So, in the category of a solar system, this stunner, my favorite, was in the top five. Unfortunately, I couldn't find out which comet it was, but any photos since 2020 are allowed, so that narrows the list somewhat. And this was done by a fellow named Dan Bartlett. And the overall winner of that category was Dan Bartlett. Let me get that bigger. There we go. Um, So other categories were deep space, astro landscape, and remote imaging. The contest really focuses on backyard astrophotography. Each entrant must only use their own equipment and editing tools that absolutely do not add any data. Any use of AI is strictly prohibited. Only the remote imaging category allows for rental equipment. Those sunspots, by the way, were done by Alessandro Ravinen, I'm going to say, and amazing work. The astro landscape category must be a natural landscape with nothing removed. I'll show you a photo. There we go. And no trees edited out, etc. This is one of the top five. And this was done by Louis Leroux Gier, I'm going to say. And I'm not sure where that is, but it's an absolutely amazing image. It's self-explanatory. There's some waterfalls going on here, absolutely wonderful mountain peak, and of course the aurora, with that band being nice and high. So this has to be extremely north. But in any event, fantastic photo. And this one was the winner. If you really zoom in here, there is a tiny human on the horizon, exemplifying the vastness of the universe. Now that's this one. Now, as I blow that up, it's a JPEG, so it does fall apart. I'm going to assume that that tiny person she's talking about is probably here, but I'm just guessing. But an amazing photo. So this is a volcanic landscape in Tenerife in the Canary Islands from Mateo Stracera. And wow, what a photograph. You got the full Milky Way caught there, all kinds of hydrogen alpha in there as well. Beautiful landscape, wonderful photo. The entry fee is not exorbitant, running at 100 Australian dollars or 91 Canadian dollars for five entries. It's 40 dollar Australian more if you would like written feedback on each of the five entries, which is actually quite reasonable for an adjudication fee. The judges were 20 of the world's greatest astrophotographers from 8 different countries. Now, she didn't have a list of who they were, but I can imagine they were awesome. So this photo of the Squid Nebula, located 2,300 light years away from us, won the Andy Shastri, the photographer of the year and overall best photo. And I mean, look at that. That's just unbelievable. Amazing work there for sure. The squid-like structure is thought to be caused by the bipolar outflow of material from massive hot stars at its center. The overall winner received this, and Mike, you don't have this one. And this is winner received this Edge HD 9.25 optical tube, valued at 3,000 US dollars. So wow, he must have been just thrilled to get that, I would imagine. Now, that's a great top prize. Even if you are not in the top 20, almost all entries received a rating. There were 36 gold, 215 silver, and 185 bronze. So, you know what I'm going to say next. I hope this year some of our amazing local astrophotographers will put it on their to-do list and be sure to enter into next year's contest. Now, on top of all of that, and from the perspective of making list, what are the 5 things not permitted on the ISS? First, no items or gadgets from home. It's not like you can pack your own luggage. All items are scrutinized. Personal items will be allowed, but not until they are thoroughly tested. Tools are standardized, and if an astronaut loses one in space, it may be 3D printed on site. That's pretty cool. The next one's kind of a no-brainer. Absolutely no open flames, no smoking, etc. I'm sure I don't have to explain why that's a no-no. And number 3, no tossing or throwing of any item. On Earth, tossing a pen to a friend is harmless, but on the ISS, it's a different story. In the microgravity of the ISS, even the lightest objects can drift endlessly, bouncing off walls or spinning into sensitive equipment. A casual game of catch could turn into a disaster in space. The ISS is packed with wires, vents, and sensitive instruments worth millions of dollars. A floating screwdriver could block an airflow filter, or it could wedge itself into a panel, causing damage that's tricky to repair with limited resources. It's a great picture. In the Soviet era, oh, by the way, number 4, no alcohol. In the Soviet era, cosmonauts sometimes carried small amounts of cognac on their missions, claiming it helped calm their nerves and improve circulation in space. But as the technology became more complex and delicate, even Roscosmos introduced a complete alcohol ban on their missions. NASA always had a strict alcohol policy, but at one point during the 70s Skylab program, they considered sending a bottle of sherry as part of the crew's meals. However, the public backlash prevented this. On the ISS, nothing goes to waste. Every drop of water is recycled, including astronauts exhaling, and yes, what they flush. Introducing alcohol into the system would interfere with the station's filtration and recycling hardware, creating a headache for the engineers. That means that not only are alcoholic drinks prohibited, but also mouthwash and aftershave that contains alcohol. On a side note, eating is obviously allowed, but bread is not due to the breadcrumbs, which could lead to a crummy situation. Number 5. And well, you've heard of the Mile High Club. Well, there is absolutely no 248 Mile High Club. Seriously, one doesn't really even need a high school physics to know that microgravity makes things, well, awkward. Never mind being with coworkers 24/7 for weeks at a time. Although there does seem to be a bit of debate in the space community, especially for those considering going to Mars. Now, this might be NASA's latest recruitment poster. NASA astronaut requirements are be a no monk, have a master's degree in a STEM field, 3+ years of related professional experience, be able to successfully complete the NASA long duration flight astronaut physical. And that is this week's
Rosanna's Fun Fact.
And another fun fact, it really was. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. Rosanna, thank you so much for that.
Wonder if they keep a log.
That was so entertaining. But the astrophotography thing, I mean, we have a lot of astrophotographers out there now, and you know what? That would be that would be a challenge for somebody who really wants to put a lot of time into a specific target. But you can enter up to 5 of them and send them on in, and you just don't know.
Yep,
There's some guys turning out some pretty nice stuff.
there is
By
indeed.
the way, that comment was 12 P. Ponce Brooks.
Oh, was
Seen
it?
the picture.
Okay.
Was it? Yeah.
I've seen the picture before, so
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
awesome.
quite a photograph, eh?
Yeah.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Thanks again, Rosanna, for another great talk.
The squid was definitely.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah.
I think it warranted the win.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, let's get to some photos quick because we're running out of time here.
All right.
So give me a second. I'm just going to take our audience back to a little transition so I get the photos opened up here. I think it's going to be here. I'm going to find a spot to put them. I'll go over here. And, yeah, so I should maybe share that screen. So let's go to share. No, it's going to be this one. You guys getting that okay?
Yep.
No. Go through.
Yep, okay. Move this other way. It's going to go to sidebar 1 second here. Hang on, audience. We'll be right with you. Okay, now we're full screen, and we can go back to the audience.
There you go.
All right, here we go. So we've got these ones here. This one's from Winston Coke. Winston says, I shot this on Saturday, September the 20th, 2025. He said, I wanted to go photograph something I've never seen before. These two pictures were taken at 2.5 hours each with my Askar 71F telescope. The filter I used was the HA and 03 Altair filter. He calls this HD 193115, so it's close to Saturn and Deneb. It's a little bit higher than both. And where's his next
Wow.
picture? Hang on. Right, this one here. Oh, is that his? Yeah, it is, yeah.
Oh, there you go.
And HD 21192 sits at 5 o'clock from the Aderim as per Stellarium. So, great shots, Winston.
Yeah, he should get into the logbook.
There you
'cause
go.
He's doing a lot
Yeah.
of photography lately.
Yeah. Right into the contest, for sure. Thank you for those. Okay, let's move on then to, oh wait, no, we got one more here. There, I do. I had a third picture here.
Yeah, we saw that
Yeah,
one.
we did. Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
Go back this way. No. There it is. Yeah, going the wrong direction. Okay, there's HTT 211643, where it's located anyway, between Cephas and Lacerda. All right, I'm going to go to David Simard's captures here. David sent me a few pictures with the sea star. He said not long exposures, just enough to get something nice. The name on the bottom of the picture. So M29 there.
Oh, nice. Nice.
cool,
Nice
yeah.
start. Wow.
M15, nice M15.
Nice cluster.
That's a favorite. M52 and M31. Portion of it down here in the corner.
Oh, in the corner of it. Yeah, I've got you.
I think it might be 110.
Yeah.
Yeah. And NGC 507 group.
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. That's what group is that? Kurt, do you know the name of that group?
Where is it?
It's NGC 507. Excuse me.
Like a miniature Lyra.
I'll have to look it up there. I have a book that has a name for that group.
Okay.
Yeah, very nice.
And he sent this one in for a picture from an 8-inch SCT with a ZWO 462 MC photo. The photo was processed by Kathy. He said I wasn't going anywhere with it, so
There you go.
There you go.
All right.
Wow. Still though, hey?
yeah.
Really gives you a sense of scale. That's
It does,
awesome.
yeah. Good stuff, Dave.
Wow.
I'm going to go from there to Bonnie Lee Armstrong's capture here. She said, here's the photo of the Milky Way from over the upper Bay of Fundy on Waterside Beach between Fundy
Can you
National
shrink
Park.
it down a little bit?
Hmm?
Can you shrink it down a little bit?
I can.
I don't think we're seeing all of it. I guess we were. Okay, sorry.
Between Fundy National Park and Cape Enraged at the lighthouse. The small white light in the lower left-hand corner is the flash of the Apple River Lighthouse, Nova Scotia.
Very nice.
Yeah,
All right.
there was
There's
an
Bonnie.
unusual green cast to the sky that night. Sure was, yeah.
Yes,
That's
sir.
very
Well done.
common.
Nicely done. Thanks, Bonnie Lee. Got this really nice capture from Ann Driscoll, beautiful moon the other night from West St. John.
Very nice. Wow.
Never gets old.
No, good stuff. Thanks, Ann. And a couple here from CJ Bernard. He's a part of the partnership actually with NB Storm and Weather Center, with Sean. So
Oh,
he
okay.
does a lot of work with Sean on that page. But here's his captures of a crescent moon. The second one here.
Yes, sir.
Nicely done.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to move over to Mark Ficken now. Mark sent me in some this afternoon here. He said, here's some more pictures of the show, Flaming Star Nebula.
Wow.
Hey, you got the whole thing in there pretty well. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That must be. Oh yeah, there's this 30. It says right down the bottom.
Yeah. And NGC 925.
Yes,
That
sir.
one's, I guess there, yeah. Go over to NGC 7789. That's Carolyn's Rose Star Cluster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, really nice.
There's.
Carolyn's are,
Good.
yeah, it's nice. Carolyn's or Carolines, whatever.
Like Pimp My Stars.
Yeah.
And the last one is MC35 and NGC 2158. I guess that's
Oh,
the
young stars in that bigger that cluster, right?
yeah,
L blue.
nicely done. Thanks, Mark.
Very nice.
Oh, she said all images acquired in Bronte with the C-Star S30, although admittedly the Flaming Star and NGC 925 needed more cowbell. Well, that can happen. All right, let's move over to Mr. Owen's capture here from Miss Peck Beach.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
beautiful capture, buddy.
So I just want to make mention that that's about as light polluted as you can get. So if you go out to that's Miss Peck Beach,
Mm.
and that bright light stuff that you see is just the very tip of the LNG terminal.
Mhm.
If you keep going to the right, it's just as big and bright as a soul can imagine. But I was still able to pull off a Milky Way. So this is just one image,
That's cool.
one frame, and
Oh.
and I was still able to pull a Milky Way out of it. So so you don't have to go to the darkest skies. The darker the sky, the better, absolutely. But even if you're in some of those skies that aren't favorable, like obviously like this one, you can still grab some stuff. So get on out there, find a really cool foreground, and take a crack at it. Just a simple camera on a tripod, 15 seconds, and there's your picture. Well, you got to do a lot of editing, of course, but typically there's your picture. So
Yeah. Oh, amazing shot.
Oh,
I think another one here, yours. Miss
oh
Peck,
yes,
Crescent
yeah,
Moon.
same thing.
Mm.
That was on the same evening. Was the crescent moon, and it was beautiful over the ocean. The tide was going out, and it was, you could see the earth shine just beautifully, and it was just getting into that gorgeous sky that Mike and I like, and then the reflection on the water. It was just magical. So I definitely had to get that one. So
You and Mike, I like that sky too. You know.
what's that?
You said you and Mike. I said I like that sky too.
Anybody's out there likes it, I think.
Nice shot, Paul. And final one here. Yeah, this was pretty cool.
Yeah,
is
this
really
one was cool. That is the LNG terminal. I toned down the brightness a lot so that you could actually see some of the water and how close the moon was to the horizon, because where that water line is the horizon. And the reason I shot that one is because I wanted to show people that as soon as it starts getting down to a certain point of the horizon, it starts to distort like crazy.
Mm.
So it's not that nice typical smooth shape anymore. It's kind of stretched and elongated, and that's all done through refracted light. And also, it gets really orange and just gorgeous as it gets to that part of the cycle before it dips down below the horizon. So so that was really quite cool to see. I wasn't expecting that. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Another bounce. This was my first time there doing that, so I didn't know what to expect, right? So,
Great shots. Good shots, buddy.
yeah, thanks.
Going to move on then to Mr. Powell. A few captures here from the last couple of weeks we were at St. John's Beach. Mike's always bringing along his camera, so we always get a few captures of what happened through the evening. So here's some quick shots of us at the beach. I think this was last night, this one here.
Oh, that was last night, yeah.
Yeah. Mike Thorne and I.
Everybody looking at Saturn.
Yeah, that was it. The sky was pretty good. There's some Milky Way behind Mike over here, so there is Milky Way there.
Yeah.
Well, mostly half cloud, half Milky Way.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, because there was a lot of cloud down low, so but still nicely done, Mike.
It's nice to be able to see it, even though that place up the hill there kind of lights us up.
Yeah, up here, yeah.
It was clear enough last night that didn't bother it as much as I thought it would. You could actually see it. The Milky Way, it was nice.
So I show these because this is how we set up down at the beach. So folks that are local and want to come down and see us, come on down. This is what we're like. Just drop by and take a look at a few nice deep sky objects, or enjoy Saturn or the moon. And we're more than happy to have you join us. So great shots. All right.
What you don't see there, though, because I've been down there enough with you guys, is it's the sound of the water.
Yeah.
So you can just imagine the ocean as that water moves, the tides move in and out. You hear all that. It just adds to the ambience there. It really puts you right into nature. That's the nature part. But
It was low tide. I went down to the water's edge last night to get a shot, and I lowered the camera down, got nice and low, and sure enough, one good wave would come right in.
oh no!
Underneath the camera, and I thought, ooh, this is kind of a little close.
I videotaped an eclipse there about 20 years ago, and lunar eclipse. and you can tell when the tide's coming in because you hear the waves getting louder.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's an amazing spot. I love it. Yeah. Great. I mean, we're very lucky to have that park and that area within
Yeah.
city limits. So if you're working in St. John, pack your lunch someday and go over there and sit there for lunch. Even beautiful spot.
We got one on each side. You got Miss Pick on one side and St. Trust on the other.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
You know, the interesting thing about that is where you guys were. I was out shooting. That was last night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was out the night before, but we were all still on the same beach, realistically, if you think
Right.
about it.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. Can you see LNG from there?
I
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
I
can
can.
see just
In the park.
the corner of it. Yeah.
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 Park easier. Yeah.
So yeah, so you guys were on one side shooting the Milky Way, and I'm on the other side shooting it.
Yeah.
It's a big Milky Way. I guess everybody can shoot it.
Everyone can shoot it.
If you have any images that you'd like to share, we love sharing them here, as you can see. So send your images into astronomybythebay@gmail.com. Please go to that address. If you send them any other way, they get lost in the shuffle, and sometimes I don't get a chance to grab them before the show. So if they all go here, then I can get them all in one spot. And we'll have them up on our next broadcast. Now, just quickly, Monday, tomorrow night, first quarter moon is at 8:53 p.m. Of course, perfect time to be looking at the moon. You want to follow along that line, the Terminator line that we see here, separates day and night and moon. Lots of features here to enjoy, even with binoculars. So get out and enjoy the moon. And on the 30th, on Tuesday night, the lunar straight wall. This is just a 110-kilometer long fault line that is actually just a gradual depression, but it appears as a crack in the moon's surface just after the first quarter moon. So get that on Tuesday night. So nice features to see. Also, here's a whole calendar for you. Lisa's going to be owing me a new calendar here pretty soon, so I think it's coming out pretty soon. So anyway, this is from Lisa Fanning, who does Lisa's Lookup, Astronomy and More. She puts out this great calendar every month, and it gives me the event itself, it gives you the date, it gives you the peak time for the event, and the seeing tools, naked eye, binoculars, or a telescope. So always very nicely done. You can follow Lisa at Ruby Moonbeams on Instagram, Mastodon, Facebook, Threads, and now on Blue Sky. Thank you, Lisa. And Kurt, of course, puts this calendar together for us too. This is the RASC SJ Astronomy calendar. For 6-week calendar here, so we got a couple events coming up this week. Here's the shadow transits coming up on Jupiter, so it's just starting to come around again. Anyway, this great calendar put out. If you want to get a copy of that calendar, just go to sjastronomy.ca and you can download it right there for free. So I think that's all I get to share. That part, and then we can get.
Could I mention something, Chris?
Back to it.
Next on our show next week.
I was going to get you to do that as soon as I sign off here. Actually, I had that all. I had it already in my notes. I said, ask Paul about next week's show. See? So in closing tonight, thank you. And then it says Paul's going to give us notes about next week's show. So it's right there.
Okay, well, what I was, we'll talk about next week because I didn't remember what I said I was going to do, but I did think of something I wanted to do.
Right.
And it was when you showed the picture of that straight wall.
Mhm.
For those who have never looked through bino viewers before, I can't stress how when you're looking through an 8-inch or larger telescope with bino viewers, how I don't know, if you're looking through an eyepiece, you're always kind of moving and fishing and looking, trying to get the spot. But when you're wearing bino viewers, it's almost like you got that 3D look, and there's no obstructions. You got both eyes working, and I'm going to show next week a pair of bino viewers, what they look like, how they use them, and because I want to talk about those. I think they're probably the most underused optical aids that I've ever seen that really make a lot of sense, and they really enhance your observing. Mike and I, in Fundy a couple of years ago, were observing. I think it was a dumbbell through them, and it was just absolutely stunning to see that with binos. But looking at the planets and looking at the moon, absolutely unbelievable. So I'm going to show next week some bino viewers and all the things you need to know about them and how they work for everybody. So
Yeah, I probably won't join on that show. I'll let you guys run that show.
yeah, Chris will be all watching a movie till Sunday.
It'd be nice to know if there are other people that have difficulty using them.
It would, yeah, because it is for me for sure. I mean, I just cannot see the difference. No.
Yeah. But
I
I'll
have
tell
those
you,
little
I'll talk
tools,
about
like
the
the little.
techniques as to how to use them, how to get your eyes relaxed, and how to get in there and have a peek at them.
Awesome. Sounds good. So that I just covered that. There we go. So in closing tonight, thank you all for joining us this evening. Special thanks goes out to Mr. Kurt Nation for joining us this evening. Thank you, Kurt. Have you back again soon.
Thank you.
And also to Rosanna, of course, for her continued contributions to the show. Thank you, Rosanna. Really,
Yay.
really do appreciate it. Yay! Also, special thanks to all of you who share our program. We really, really do appreciate it. I think Mark on here, if it can, shared it 9 or 10 times tonight, so perfect, like that. Remember too, we do love getting your photos, so send them into astronomybythebay@gmail.com and we'll have them up on our next broadcast. And if you have a suggestion for a topic for a future show, please let us know at the same address. And please let your friends and family know that we are back here next Sunday evening at the same time, 8 p.m. on YouTube and Facebook, to edutain you on the on astronomy and the wonders of the night sky. So for now then, from Mike, Paul, Kurt, Rosanna, and I, wish you all a safe and happy week, everybody. Lots of clear skies, as we like to say, everybody. What
Your eyes
we'd like to say?
to the sky.
Open your eyes to view. See, listen. Open your eyes to view the skies, and keep your scopes pointed up. Great. Thanks, everybody.
Very nice,
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
Night.